What up, Misfits? Welcome to the Misfit Heroes podcast. My name is Chris, and together we are going on a journey. Now, Misfits, being a good listener is a quality that is very hard to come by in today's modern social lifestyle. We often have information overload with hundreds of thousands of stories and pieces of data that seem like they're coming at us at any given moment. It often seems like there's literally too many things to pay attention to. I think a good listener is someone that can show true interest in a conversation and allow someone else to speak their mind and share their thoughts in a cohesive and welcoming manner. Being a good listener is the truest method of human intimacy and connection, and it's one of the most key indicators of the value of one's relationships. My good friends over at Authority Magazine have once again reached out to me, and this time they're inquiring about the habits that it takes to be a great listener, and I'm always willing to help. So, with that being said, here are 5 tips to be a better listener.
Playing the Misfit Heroes podcast.
Now, before I just list a bunch of tips without any context, I think it's important to note why listening is important in the first place. Effective listening makes someone feel comfortable and validated. And let's face it can be difficult to meet new people. People are often so nervous and self-conscious that the concept of starting a conversation in itself freezes them in their tracks before they can muster the courage to speak. I was recently speaking at an event, and on the name badges, they had these tags for whether someone was an introvert or an extrovert. And I thought that was kind of funny. Now, I met so many new and interesting people, but the common denominator with these people who had introvert tags was that they weren't coming up to you and asking for your advice. And I took a little bit of a different approach. Rather than potentially intimidate someone who doesn't want to talk to me initially, I chose to sort of hang back a little bit and listen to others' conversations first. And I was gathering all types of data points from what they were looking for to where they were from, their interests, and so forth and so on. And then I took a mental note of 1 to 2 key points of interest from what I gathered. And it was simple to meet these people when I came prepared with their needs and interests in mind rather than my own. And by the end of the week-long conference, I had created tons of new friends and acquaintances who were vested in our relationships by really doing no more than just listening and paying attention to details. I acted like everyone's wingman, and it helped not only me by growing my contact list, but really more importantly, it helped them by bringing these people into other conversations with contacts that they may not have moved forward to talk to. Often, I think many people tend to listen with an intent to respond rather than to listen with an intent to actually take in what someone is saying. Listening to respond often comes from a sales perspective. I've had a lot of sales jobs, and it's like you're looking to overcome an objection, whereas truly listening to hear what someone is saying, it aims to come together in an agreement or compromise. And 9 times out of 10, effectively listening builds confidence in the speaker that someone understands what your concerns are, and they want to offer assistance if necessary. And this generally leads to a stronger bond and rapport with the speaker. Now, there's actually a great tool that I learned from all people, an FBI interrogator. It's a tactic used to pull more information from a potential informant. The process is called mirroring. Now, let's say you're talking to somebody and you don't feel like they're giving you the whole truth. If you selectively repeat the last 3 to 5 words in any given sentence that they say, followed by deeper questioning, it subconsciously makes the speaker offer up more information. It acts as an invitation for them to elaborate. Another big tip is to research your conversation beforehand. If you have more than just a basic general line of questioning prepared for the person that you're going to hold a conversation with, it allows the speaker to elaborate a little bit further and give much more in-depth answers when they don't necessarily have to explain a basic concept to you in the first place. All right, now I know it seems like I've started the tips already, but here we go. Let's get started with those listening tips. You see that? That's called adding value. The first one is simple. Pay attention. Now, being a great listener, it develops great relationships. When you pay attention and you go out of your way to make someone else feel heard, they naturally want to reciprocate a little bit. It's a simple growth strategy as well. When someone feels like you hear their concerns, they feel validated and they create a relationship based on trust. And I'll be honest with you, this can help not only in your professional life, but at home as well. I guarantee you, if your partner feels attended to, your relationship will blossom. And if it's one thing I'm known for, it's relationship advice. That was sarcasm. Number 2, listening builds confidence, and confidence makes brands. Way back in the 1980s, the Frito-Lay company was struggling to compete economically. They held a promotion for employees to act like the owner for a day. And a janitor that was making $4 an hour at the time realized that there were no Frito-Lay products that were made specifically for the Latin American community. He developed a blend of spices in his home kitchen, and he stole bags of unused Cheetos from work. His spice blend went on to become Flamin' Hot Cheetos, and as of 2017, Flamin' Hot Cheetos was a #1 cheesy snack brand valued at over $1 billion. There are plans to make a movie about that janitor, and that's all because the people at the Frito-Lay company listened to him. Number 3, good listeners listen more than they speak. Now, this is a pro tip from a podcaster. I noticed something when I edit my podcast. The amount of time that I spend speaking on the show is dramatically less than the amount of time that my guests speak, which should make sense as a podcast listener. I mean, after all, the guests are the subject matter experts. I find when I approach a conversation from the viewpoint of a student and not as a teacher, the guest is able to provide and expand upon so many more insightful points than when I tend to take the reins and lead a little bit. If I'm able to provide commentary, hey, I do. But 9 times out of 10, if I'm speaking, it's to get more nuggets of wisdom from the person that I'm interviewing. Number 4, being a good listener means being present, and that means being fully present. When I'm speaking with somebody, there is nothing else on my mind. Not the text message from the wife to pick up groceries, not the speeding ticket from last week, heck, not even how much time an interview is taking. It's this attention to detail and personal touch that I think makes my conversations flow a little bit more smoothly. I'm a stickler for making direct eye contact, and my focus is entirely on the person that I'm talking with. I can't tell you how often when an interview is over that a guest tells me how they felt comfortable and heard by talking with me. And I take that as a little bit of a compliment. So kudos to me. Last but not least, one of the most important qualities of a good listener is being an active listener. And this skill will lead you to success in any interaction, whether it's a job interview, a podcast interview, or meeting with a potential client. Being an active listener means being relevant to the conversation at hand. And this means going above and beyond just being present, but also recognizing the immediate talking points and expressing concern using verbal, nonverbal, physical talking cues like smiling or nodding your head and remaining engaged. The more someone feels that you're invested in their input, the more they will be willing to continue a conversation with you. And when somebody wants to talk to you, that means that you are worthy of their most valuable asset, their time. Now, if you're struggling with any of these things, look, don't get discouraged, okay? I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm naturally a people person. That's probably why my show is as successful as it's been, is because I don't force things. When I have somebody on, I am genuinely interested in the people that I'm talking to. And I turn down a lot of people that want to come onto the show. And that's my little bonus tip. If you're not naturally a people person, go out and find something that you're interested in and try sharing your passion. I guarantee you, if you just go out there and start talking, somebody is going to want to hear about it. So I hope these tips helped. And if they did, or you've got some tips of your own, let me know down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and leave a rating and review of the show on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. And as always, until next time, be kind, love one another, and be a hero.